Hey g'day, boys and girls, Sheilas and blokes. My name's Jacob, and today I want to talk to you about Monster Hunter Wilds' first trailer because goddamn Muzzios, that was a loaded 3 minutes. I already have a video with my initial reaction from Friday's State of Play, where I was extremely hyped throughout the entire thing, which was also how I felt back during the reveal trailer at last year's Game Awards. But after I let that all simmer for a while, I ended up not particularly liking that trailer much at all. My first real video on this channel was me talking for 15 minutes about my several concerns on how Wilds would turn out based on the reveal trailer. But thankfully that's not really something I feel this time, not completely anyways. I want to start talking about this new trailer by addressing one of my major concerns from the old trailer, which was the gameplay. Back in that reveal trailer, when I saw the environment filled with dozens of small monsters, and especially those 7 large bears we now know are called Doshiguma, I kind of thought, and look, I know this is stupid to say, but I honestly thought this game would be like Dynasty Warriors. Legit, that's really what I thought, because they didn't show any real combat, and I was thinking that after Rise went for a more DMC character action approach, that Wilds would try pushing those limits even further. When I saw those 7 large bears together, I was expecting the hunter to require large sweeping AoE attacks to hit them all, with the Bayonetta / Nier style of mega invul dodges to be able to avoid their attacks. I know it's ridiculous looking back on it now, but I just had that kind of worry. And now that I know Wilds is not like that this is some proper Monster Hunter gameplay that I know and love, I really like it. In this trailer, we saw something I wanted to see brought back in Wilds. I made a video about this recently. You might have seen it where I talked a little bit about hunt preparation. In Wilds, it seems they've introduced some new form of preparation that we see in the trailer with a pack of large monsters running through the map and the hunter mentions needing to split one off from the rest of the pack so he can hunt it. Then we see the hunter very worryingly use the clutch claw, which I'll get back to later. He uses it to pick up some slinger ammo and then uses that to drop an environmental hazard on the rest of the monsters to separate your target monster from the rest of the pack. This kind of reminds me of the old Need for Speed pursuit chases, where you do kind of the same thing to escape the cops. But yeah, it seems like there's going to be some element of hunt preparation by separating the monsters from the pack, which is an interesting concept. There were also 2 other new monsters shown in the trailer, which were the Chatacabra. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's going to be a new amphibian, which shares a similar naming scheme to the Tetsukabra, which, if I'm not mistaken, was our first amphibian. And there was also a new bird wyvern, which I don't know the name of, but it's very likely going to be this game's version of the Velocidrome or the Great Jezzychii. I'm kind of worried the Great Jezzychii might not come back again because of this, but I'll let all that go for now. It looks like these new bird wyverns are also in packs, so you're going to have to separate those too, but seemingly not every monster species does this, as we don't see the Chatacabra in a group, which otherwise if we did, I would start being concerned that every monster is now in packs. Like, would we have to eventually separate Deviljos apart? Thankfully for me, it doesn't look that way yet. Probably only monsters that make sense to hunt in packs are going to be in groups, whereas individual monsters like the Chatacabra and, I don't know, like the Tigrex will be loners around the map. I like this new mechanic, you know, it sort of adds in a new sense of hunt preparation and makes the world feel alive, and since there's a chance not every monster is doing it, then it doesn't seem like it's something that's going to get old fast. I'm hoping it's only a third or maybe 2/5 of the monster's top that you have to separate. Just please don't overdo this, Capcom. While I'm still half on the topic of gameplay mechanics, I've seen you can swap weapons now mid-battle, which that's going to lead to some crazy fun hunt situations. But I'm hoping this is the only weapon you can swap mid-hunt because I don't want to see the camp restocking come back. Oh, and there's also mounted combat now that looks sick. Like, I want to know, can we joust with lancers too, or is this only to make bowguns more unfairly overpowered? I need answers soon. Anyway, the new moves on the greatsword look bloody incredible. I saw a post on Facebook by Capcom that these new moves are a part of a new focus mode, which puts you in some sort of stance thing. I am not entirely sure how it functions for sure yet, because I just showed the same clip from the trailer. If anyone's heard of Astral Chain, then there's a thing in that game also called the focus mode that puts the player in direct control of the legions, giving you more precise combat actions when entering this stance, and these change depending on the selected legions. The game also uses the focus mode actions for some fun battle mechanics. That's kind of what I'm imagining will be the case for in Wilds. Astral Chain's an extremely good game, by the way. If you have a Switch and haven't played it before, then I'd recommend it because you probably like action games if you're watching me talk about Monster Hunter. Anyways, back to the trailer. The part where the Greatsword Hunter blocks the monster from trying to eat him, that looks so bloody epic, and I want to see what that looks like on the Lance. Lance is one of my favourite weapons in the series, which is probably surprising for some people because I think I've made it abundantly clear Hammer is my top weapon, and Lance plays nothing like it. When I think of blocking in Monster Hunter, then Lance is the weapon I think of, you know, it's got the giant shield, it is the blocking weapon in my opinion, and I really want to see what kind of cool counters Lance gets in focus mode. I especially want to know what does Hammer do in focus mode, like, I don't think he could really block with the hammer, so what kind of cool awesome attacks do I get instead? I want to find out so bloody badly. This kind of stuff gets me very excited. I think this might be a gameplay gimmick that perhaps everyone might gel with finally, because gimmicks for Monster Hunter are very hit or miss. We don't really need to talk about underwater combat here, everyone knows about underwater combat. The current gen itself has the dreaded Clutch Claw and the Wirebugs, which again split the community, but this is something I love about Monster Hunter games, okay? They always try new things to keep each game fresh, even if some people don't like it, others do. Wild's focus mode looks great from what little I've seen, and I haven't seen anyone complain about it either yet, so here's hoping it stays that way. And now, I'm going to go back to the Clutch Claw I mentioned earlier. I had a mate send me a tweet from Oceaniz who says the Clutch Claw isn't in Wilds, but that's not true. I mean, you see the hunter use it in the trailer, then later you see a monster who on its back leg there's a wounded tenderized thing, so I am worried there. I bloody hate the Clutch Claw. Latching onto monsters and tenderizing shit from Iceborne, I simply despise it. I don't like fumbling or clunkily around the monster, okay? Monster Hunter is clunky enough already without needing this kind of stuff. I am going to be velocipraying Capcom haven't brought this back in Wilds. Yesterday when I gave my initial reaction to the trailer, I was very concerned over this, but later when I went for a jog, I was thinking about it more and the context it was used in. The hunter walked past a rock pile and then the Clutch Claw grabbed the ammo, so maybe like I said back in my Wilds reveal trailer video, the Clutch Claw is just for gameplay mechanics now, and if so, I couldn't be any happier. Now that we have this new mount, the Skerek, I think it's pronounced. Actually, I'm just going to keep calling it the Chocobo, okay? The Sacred has massive collaboration potential with Final Fantasy. I hope they do another 14 collab between Dawn Trail and Wilds, that'll be awesome. Anyway, the Chocobo, it and you are going to be running around a lot, and I think the Clutch Claw has now been reworked into a gathering tool that'll like latch onto items you gather while riding past them. That way you don't have to slow down and stop like you did on the Palamute when getting chased. You can just grab it and move and keep running, you know? That kind of thing. It's like a natural evolution of both the Palamute riding and the fast gathering system we got in Monster Hunter World. So that's interesting to see, I like it. It's only a theory so far though, as I'm yet to hear any official confirmation. And I am also disappointed that the Slinger is back to limited ammo capacity. I just hope that this time they don't make it so we use flash and dung bombs with it again, because I don't want to be slinging these consumables at environmental hazards and monsters. Oh, and before I forget, that tenderized part was perhaps just a part break, like Toby Kadachi and Rise looks very similar when you break his tail. Thankfully for me, I don't have to worry about not knowing for long, since Saturday at the Summer Games Fest, Big Boy mentioned there will be Monster Hunter Wilds gameplay there, so I imagine this is going to be similar to what they did with Monster Hunter Rise. When they announced that game back in 2020, it got its own dedicated Monster Hunter Direct, which was similar here to what they did with Wilds with the gameplay trailer and then a community video talking about it. That's kind of what that Direct was. And then directly a week after that, they had an extended presentation at Tokyo Game Show that showed off the Shrine Ruins and a Tetronodon hunt. It's here that whatever concerns I have for the gameplay, like the Clutch Claw and hunting pack kind of stuff, will likely get answered. I am very excited to see what Wilds looks like in these long extended play periods without getting interrupted by trailer jump cuts. So, moving on to the maps now, which is another thing I want to see more of in gameplay because I'm still not sure if this game's going to be open world or not. I recently made a video where I talked about maps in Monhun. It was mostly about the remakes in Rise, and granted the map here is likely not a remake, so it's not really the same comparison, but anyway, I mentioned there if they ever did some kind of big open world style Monster Hunter game, which it looks like Wilds is potentially going to be, then that would be better suited for the new remake, so I want to see exactly how big this place is. In the trailer when showing the hunting grounds, I don't see any boundaries. Like, you look over the dunes and it just stretches on and on. I don't think they're going to put invisible walls here either, it just doesn't match Monster Hunter's more realistic design approach from World. But then again, they've done this in past games, like Rise had a lot of invisible walls so you don't jump over the edge and run away. But yeah, I don't believe Wilds is going to do this. The desert map also swaps between seasons, kind of like in Wild Hearts, so there's Capcom taking inspiration from a game that took inspiration from them first. It's Inspirationception. Ryozu said in the recent community message that there's going to be another new trailer at Summer Games Fest, which is just crazy. I mean, well, it's such a good time to be a Monster Hunter fan, isn't it? Next, I want to talk about the story, which is something I really wasn't expecting to see, but good Gobel, I'm happy that there's one, and it looks like there's going to be a promising one at that too. So, we're a hunter traveling into the Forbidden Lands, with two extremely important characters, and no, I'm not including the new handler, who I'll discuss soon. I'm talking here about Little Miss Forge and the Ace Lancer. Like, holy fuck, we have Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate characters here. Like, I went fucking ecstatic when I found this out. I am so fucking keen to play this game now, more than ever. I bloody love Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, mostly because of the story and these characters. But I am ashamed to admit though that the connection slipped my mind during the stream, and I only know this thanks to Kogaf on Twitter pointing it out. I've actually been trying to avoid other people's thoughts on Wilds as to not soil my own before making this video. But Twitter's not interested and show less button is busted. That shit never works, so Monster Hunter tweets show up fairly often on my feed whenever I get bored waiting for duties to pop on Final Fantasy XIV and I go and do a quick scroll through Twitter for a couple minutes. Gemma's undoubtedly Little Miss Forge. She's wearing the Caravanner's jacket and she has the same blonde hair and blue headband. It's just like her, but she's grown up now. I'm so happy to see her. Then we see the Ace Lancer in a flashback sequence, which I'm surprised to even see flashbacks in a Monster Hunter game. Like, this is an actual story they're going for here. But I also do remember they said the same thing for World, and, well, that story fell flat on its face. I'm hoping Wilds does a better job, okay? Like, there's no way they're going to milk out nostalgia for these 4 Ultimate characters that we love for their story here with a mediocre one again. I have faith it's going to be good, and it's awesome seeing these two back. Like, I'm wondering who Little Miss Forge mentioned she'd hope we'd find soon. Like, could that be more familiar characters from past games too? I want to find out. Anyways, back to the handler, Alma. She looks very out of place for the Monster Hunter universe. She looks way too modern, and yes, I know there is modern-esque gear in Monster Hunter, but that's almost entirely dedicated to event gear I'm quite certain isn't actually canon. And also, the Hunter and the Palicos are fully voiced in cutscenes, so we're like actual characters in the story now. The trailer's lines were pretty bad though. I didn't hear the Hunter contribute anything important to the scene, but then again, this is only a small slice we got to see in the trailer. I am hoping that in the complete game we get to have more meaningful discussion with our teammates. I'm also hoping for multiple voice options for our hunters so we can make our characters sound different to our friends' hunters, but That's the kind of customization that gets lost for fully voiced custom characters. Just look at Cyberpunk and Fire Emblem as a couple of examples of that. And do not dare make the additional voices DLC, Capcom. I do want to talk about the DLC, which I think is inevitable for Wilds, but I plan on saving this for a separate video because I don't want to ruin the mood of this one. And so, to round out the video, I want to finish by talking about the monsters. In the first second of this trailer, I screamed Jen Moran when I saw the opening shot of the land ship. I thought they were going to actually fight Jen Moran there. I think he's definitely coming back now we have this giant desert and a land ship. And with this land ship likely being our hub base, and that'll lead to a really tense story quest defending the ship from Jen or Duran Moran. Also, another thing I saw Kogath point out over on the Twitters was this image from the promotional site that looks extremely like Shantian here, with the matching head and the wings, and then it begins to tail out towards the tail, no pun originally intended there. This is likely to keep the design slender since Shantian's tail is too big. I'm wondering if this will be our new Hunt Clock logo. But the more important question here is, what the hell does this mean for the series if it's actually Shantian? If you aren't familiar with what Shantian is, it's another monster from Frontier like Espinas was. Could this design be hinting that the gates of Mezporta are being opened once again, and we're getting more forbidden monsters escaping the frontier, and possibly a couple lost weapon schematics with them? People have been asking for new weapons in Monster Hunter for a while now, and it'll be 12 years since we got any new ones by the time Wilds is released. This could be the chance to finally bring back the Tonfa and the Magnet Spike in a big new main series title, and I'm hoping they do it. I want my Chocobo to carry me around a Magnet Spike as my optional weapon. And now, that's been all my thoughts about Monster Hunter Wilds' first trailer. I let them settle for a day so I could concisely collect everything I want to say, and I think I've done that now. I'm hyped for the coming weekend for more news, but that week's going to be kind of hectic for me, so I probably won't be able to make another video for the next trailer like I did with this one. But I'll try working on something ASAP. I should at least be streaming the opening show to see the new trailer, but I definitely will not be able to see the gameplay presentation if there actually is one. And speaking of making videos, I've been trying to make a Final Fantasy XIV video. That's been a long time coming now. I plan on having that out before the end of this month, so yeah, I hope you look forward to that one. And if you're still listening, then cheers. You're a huge help for the algorithm, and I appreciate you for it. Please like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. I'm open to dialogue in the comments, so please share what you thought of Wild so far, or my own thoughts in the video. And please subscribe for more content like this. Alright, that's all. Have a good one, people. Cheers.